Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to my latest YouTube video, and today is a very monumental day for me. I'm very happy to say that I finally had a 5-figure day. I made over 10 grand today, which is insane to me because I've never had this happen. I've never made 5 figures in one day in all of my years of trading, which I've been trading for over 3. So this is a very monumental day. Very happy with how I traded today. And I'm ready to explain with you guys what my biggest trade of the day was and why I took my entries and exits that I did. So we'll be looking at NAKD today. Starting off, let's discuss what and why it ran. So there wasn't actually any legitimate news. If we look, it actually just a ton of pause due to volatility news alerts. Nothing else is really coming up. The main reason that this ran today is mostly because of retail. The retail sector, consumer cyclical, and apparel manufacturing, that's retail. It was hot today. And the thing about sectors is that you tend to be a trend. Today's trend was retail, was consumer cyclical. Or if I'm saying cyclical, I don't know. I'm sorry if I'm saying it wrong. But this was the trend. NAKD was leading the pack. So looking at this, we actually saw a mega monstrous move from NAKD today. This thing closed yesterday around 68 cents and ran all the way to 262. That is insane. 267% increase in price. That is a huge move, and I'm happy to say that I took advantage of this. I'm hoping that you guys also had the chance to take advantage of this. But also look at this daily chart. This is a 10-year chart right here. This is basically the existence of the company. Today's volume candle is monstrous. It towers over anything else that comes close to it, which was pretty much 424 if we look here. So the closest volume candle was 23 million. Today we traded over about 160 million shares of volume. That is monstrous. This thing was set from the beginning to make a giant move. So before I even go into actually like what the chart setups were and like how I traded, I'd like to say that volume is key when to identifying big movers. So literally at around 10 a.m., this thing was, I'd have to say it was very close to 427. It was very close to 23 million shares of volume that was traded. And seeing that happen by 10 a.m. basically is a green flag or green light saying this thing is making huge moves today. So when I saw that we were getting close to this volume candle, I knew this thing would be the mover of the day. I knew. And I knew I had to find chart setups and make some money off of it. So if we look at my chart with all of my sells, we just see an insane amount of buys and sells. Yes, I know it's crazy, but trust me, I'm about to break it down for you guys. Yes, so starting, we're not even going to go over pre-market because pre-market, very simple, low volume. I'm not really trading with much size, but we'll go and start from the beginning. So as we can see, I took my first entry around close to 10 a.m. Let's go on this chart, which is the exact same chart. It's a 1-minute chart, and we're going around 9:53. Reason I entered here, this was on my radar just because it was gapping up so much. But the reason why I took an entry at 9:53 is because I noticed that big volume was coming in and we were breaking over high a day. And I tend to see when stocks, also it was creating higher lows, which I have this little trend line created. But I noticed when the market opens and stocks tend to just consolidate, maybe create higher lows, they will have a breaking point. And when they break over this breaking point, huge volume will come through and which will push the price higher. And that's exactly what we saw. So took some shares, 953, added on the way up because I saw we were breaking over this high. We broke over 1. I added more shares on the break of 1. And then I started scaling out in YASK. Started scaling out some, $4, $9 here. So I'm scaling out on the way up because I actually what was happening here is I noticed we were flagging above the 8 EMA. So I was holding my shares, and you guys can see I actually re-added. It's because I love when a stock breaks out with volume and it consolidates holding the 8 EMA. That's a green light right there to enter, take more shares, get in, because this thing is most likely going to see a new high. Of course, if it crosses below the 8 EMA, sell for a loss. But this thing didn't cross below. This thing it touched 957, touched the 8 EMA, it didn't bounce perfectly to $1.10. So taking more shares off there. And as you guys can see, we're only looking at this part of the trade. My best scale was actually at $1.15, which is pretty close to its high at that time. Actually, no, $1.17. I got some shares out at $1.17. So I was up pretty nice on this first trade today. But that's not even it. So as soon as that happened, also the reason why I decided to scale there is because pre-market high was $1.15. So I knew there would be a resistance around that level. So I took some shares off $1.15 and then just basically knew that it didn't have a lot of steam left. And I wanted to just take my profit at that point. So next trade was actually not that long after, because if we look at the 5-minute, we can see I started adding in around 1040-ish. So looking around that time, what is this right here? Cup and handle. See, on the 5-minute chart, we're noticing a very small cup and handle form. We have a high consolidation above VWAP, and then a quick little spike up, another consolidation above the 8 EMA, and then boom, blast off. So I'm looking to add here. I'm looking for that handle to be formed. Let me try to see on the 1 minute. So I'm looking for the handle to be formed, which we see is forming from 1034 to 1042, which is right here. This is a nice handle right here. It might not look the greatest on the 1 minute, but pull it up on the 5-minute and you can see it. So I was taking some shares, basically just looking for a break over high a day, maybe even further, because I knew this thing had a ton of volume on the day. I wanted to see a nice move. I was thinking 130. 130 was a good PT. So I was taking some shares. See, I'm adding around, I add some $1.10, $1.13, $1.20, $1.16, $1.21. Well, these are over here. $1.20 actually on the break of the handle, when I knew that's kind of confirmation for me. When the handle is broken to the upside, sometimes I will take more shares. And also we were breaking over this high a day. So I was taking the shares that would break over high a day. And as soon as that happened, I basically, it wasn't really, what I like to see is when a stock breaks over high a day, I like to see that it ramps up hard. But if we look here, if we create this price level right here, $1.20's major resistance. We broke above it, but we barely broke above it. This thing was not, I thought if we broke above 120, we would see a huge spike, a huge increase in volume, and a quick spike to 130. That didn't happen. So when I see a stock break up above high day with not that much momentum, I tend to take profit around there. It's because more times than not, this thing might not follow through, which I was kind of right on. So this thing broke above 120. It kind of just went to 123, which you guys can see I took shares off 123. And then it just came right back down, $1.15. And when this happened, I noticed that it was still in a pattern. It was still holding this 20 EMA very well. It was sticking up. The sellers weren't taking over. So I was looking to re-add my shares. As we can see, around 1050 to about 11-ish, I was adding shares because this thing, I knew it wasn't done. And you might be asking, why did I think that? It's because of the volume. The volume was so consistent and so strong, and there was just so much volume that I knew this thing had more juice in it. So guys, remember, volume is key when looking in the stocks. When trading stocks, if a stock is trading with a massive amount of volume, you can be confident that its chart setups will make moves. So looking at the chart setup, it actually kind of continued its handle and maybe just made it a higher handle right here, another handle right there, and boom, we broke to the upside. And this is the move I was looking for. This is exactly what I wanted. So when I re-added my shares at around 1052, I added some 116, 121, got some shares there, 119. And then also what was happening, I took those shares and then saw another break high day, started taking profits, $1.32, $1.42, or $1.27, $1.42, $1.38. So I was taking profits because taking profits, guys, there was not a real PT for this thing. If we go and look at let's look at the 6 month. So if we look at the 6 month and compare its last serious green day, which was 427, the high of day was 148. So I knew this thing would have major resistance of $1.48. I was looking to get out before then. So as you guys can see, $1.38, $1.42, $1.27. And yeah, that's basically that trade, which netted me a great gain again. So I'm up a lot of money on this ticker. I think I was up roughly around $3,000 by this time of day. And I had one final trade, which was the best trade I had on this, which took place beginning at 102 and ended. Well, the chart setup began at 102 and ended at 147. This is a perfect symmetrical triangle. As we can see, lower highs, higher lows. I love these chart setups. I was trying to get shares as close to this low setup, as close to support right here as I could. And I actually loaded pretty big. I think I had roughly about 15,000 shares. And this is big for my account size because this thing was trading around $1.60. 15,000 shares, that's a lot. So I was buying shares. I was buying shares $1.63, $1.64-ish, $1.62. As you guys can see, I had more. I bought more, $1.72. But looking right here, I was buying shares as close to support level as I could. And yeah, I know I had like quick little sells, but that's just because I was in really big and I get nervous sometimes when I'm in super big. I need to work on that. That's one thing I'm trying to work on. But yes, so I'm getting in at the support level. I'm buying shares at around 142 to 147. I'm buying on this support level, risking it. If it breaks below, I'm out. That could have been just a little loss if it broke below, but it didn't break below. It broke to the upside. And that is where I started selling shares. I sold some shares, $1.73. And then sold some more shares, $1.74. But again, another chart setup happened on the 1 minute. We can see another miniature flag / symmetrical triangle formed. We have a little flagpole here and the flag itself. So I noticed that and started adding back shares. So I was adding more shares, $1.73. Got some shares at $1.84, $1.88. Wait, this can't be right. Yeah, it's all the way up there. Sorry, there's a lot of arrows. So I'm adding here, $1.73. And then there's, basically just like, here. These are the shares that I added. I did not know I could do that. That's pretty cool. But yeah, I added all these shares at around 155 right on this break, which broke to the upside. I was taking my profits, working around a core position also. I never was totally out of shares. I kind of had like a set like 2,000 shares I was just trying to hold throughout this entire move. So it broke to a new high, took my profits. I'm up big again, taking my profits. And as you guys can see, I'm basically taking my profits on the pops, buying on the dips. And I do this for a long time, very long time. We actually had a halt in here. I don't know if I can tell where it is. It's right there. We halted right there. Wait, that wasn't the main halt. We had a main halt. I don't know where the main halt was. But we had a main halt. This main halt, actually, it brought the price. Dude, where was this halt? Hold up. I need to find this out. whatever. I'm sorry, but there was a major halt, and I actually had 10,000 shares. I remember I was in with an average of like 150 something. Was it over here? I think it was. It was right here. No. Yeah, it was right there. It was right here. Yep. So I actually didn't even go over this trade. Sorry guys, but before this major trade, I actually traded the first major halter of the day on this thing. So I noticed that this thing was what's going on here? 11:11. Let's look at the 5-minute. So look at 11 exactly. Cup and handle, major cup and handle, even better than the one before. So we see from 11:10 to 12:40 is a major cup and handle, beautiful one on the 5-minute here. So I'm taking shares here between 12:35 to basically 12:50. I'm taking shares on as close as support as possible, 141, 140, 137. I'm buying the dips essentially. And what happens here is we break above to the upside, halts. I'm in big with a lot of shares. Bam. High day. I'm selling in the ask all the way up. Nice play. Nice play. And then basically what was going on here was just that I was buying and selling very quickly because this thing was ramping up fast. I didn't know how high it would ramp up, but it was going up fast. I actually stopped trading when it broke above 2 because I didn't think it had much gas left. That's the thing with these stocks. There's a lot of FOMO. I could tell at that moment there was a lot of FOMO. I didn't know how much more this thing could go before it took the dip. It halted down, as you guys can see. Like it exploded 260. A few minutes later, it just halts down. I could have easily got caught if I kept trading this. I could have got caught at 260 and got stuck in the halt. Not saying that would have happened, but it could have happened. And yeah, it's essentially my trades in the day. I'm sorry I just got that a little confused right there. I totally forgot about this major cup and handle that went on. I just had so many shares. I traded this thing so many times today, I didn't even realize it. But yeah, so that's basically my analysis on this thing. This thing was insane. Thank you so much, NAKD. Netted me about 7.6K. Nice trade. All right, well, thank you guys for watching. Really appreciate you guys tuning in. Hope you guys learned something. And if you guys could, just subscribe because I like seeing subscribers. It's kind of nice. But yeah, new videos soon. Thank you for watching. See you guys.